Hello, gamers. Welcome to Vecho Fights Devlog. This is episode 1. It's basically a short, a show about my views on the video game that I'm working on, Vecho Fights. Yeah, you can check it out. Links in the description, as well as in the the first comment that you'll see. In today's video, I'd like to talk about my journey in this game dev endeavor. So first, what I noticed about Vecho Fights. It's a pretty hyper fighting game. Well, I wouldn't say hyper in terms of it's got hype, but gameplay wise, it's more focused on players creating combos that are extremely deadly through juggles with connecting other attacks and such. Now, how did I come up with this idea? Well, first off, I wouldn't say it's just an idea out of the blue like I just thought of it. No, it actually came from about 3 major fighting game franchises, I think you should know. Which is the first was Mortal Kombat. Yeah, I liked how the juggle system worked, but the problem is it was just so rapidly fast, it was hard to keep up. Second game that actually gave me this juggle idea was when I played Street Fighter 5. I noticed you could link some combos which would turn into juggles. Yeah, and third was Taken. Yeah, Taken 7 kind of actually gave me a bit of motivation and inspiration. Now, as much as I didn't want to actually make games that are too similar or exact. I had to add in a little spice. So I thought, what if all moves could connect? The only thing the player had to do was imagine, be creative with the techniques in the fight, with whatever character they pick. So now the twist here was also that I added something called boosters. I'm sure if you've played the game, boosters are more like special factors or extra hidden special attacks that help link combos to become longer and more deadly and more damaging. Just depends on the character that you're using. While booster factors at the same time, they actually give a character an ability that can be used as an advantage in battle. For example, the main character who's Vecho, the black character, Captain Jim, gains a boost. He's got a booster factor called Invincible Soldier or Energy Mode, which simply makes him invulnerable to all attacks, but for a short limited of time. This is to make sure gameplay is balanced. At first, some players complained that the factor lasted too long, that you'd find if Captain Jim was on the losing side, he can actually have a comeback just through a booster, since you can't hurt him in any way. No logic counter, no virtual finisher, nothing could hurt him. He's completely invulnerable just for that, using that factor. Now, the second thing about the game was also that I was actually so motivated when I played Street Fighter 5 Champion Edition, that is. I just felt like, I like how the V system works. Why don't I implement something similar? And hence, this is where the booster idea came from. Now, one thing about Vecho Fights is it's not really like a new game that just came up with recently. This project started back in 2014. In its earlier days, it wasn't all that. That was like my game dev journey where I was learning how to program. At first, I was working with a game engine, Scratch 2.0. But that didn't seem like to really last, since the engine was still limited by then. So using Scratch 2.0, all I could do was program the main menu, and that would completely eat up its memory space due to the animations, functions, and the graphic. So it was only when we hit 2019 when Scratch 3 was announced, but it didn't have official release, more like a beta. I actually transferred the project there. By then, all the assets were already programmed from 2.0, but weren't able to upload. So from that point, I decided to move everything, my assets, from 2.0 to Scratch 3.0. Yeah, when I had the game on Scratch 3.0, it worked marvelously with a few bugs here and there, but it worked. It actually started the basis of my video game. Yeah, and from that point, I realized the game had potential, and I continued on with Scratch 3. It took a while till 2020. There weren't converters that could turn Scratch projects into playable EXs on PCs or APKs for Android phones. So it took a while. I had to wait, just have hope that somebody could program, until I came across a Scratcher. His name was Sheep Tester. Yeah, give a shout out to him. You should check him out. He's actually on the Scratch website. You can actually find his engine, Scratch 3 to HTML, or is it SB3 to HTML? Yeah, I'll leave the link in the description. Yeah, when I found this converter, I actually finally, for the first time in years, saw my game playable on a PC other than mine. Since I went to test it out on a friend's PC, and yeah, I was actually impressed at the speed and everything. So what came to my mind was like, I've got a game that allows heavy creativity. There's no limit to how you play. So from that point, I just decided to really push it to its limits, put in new code, added in new functions to the game. Features that weren't even intended just came in. Yeah. So by the time we hit like 2021, now this is the part where some things went off. Apparently, my old Vecho Fights project, which is it was a prototype by then, yeah, but the project was basically the base project that I was working on. I had it on a machine that actually crashed, so I was basically sent back, like, how can I say, works that took like 3 years straight to implement fell off back. I had to start off from one. I had to begin the whole engine again from one, which I did. It took me only like a month to implement most of the necessary features, but this kind of held me back. I could have released the game by 2021, but due to this same issue, I was forced to begin from one. But I actually got everything in. But that was 2021 June, July. I even launched Lee's trailer. Lee was actually the next character I was working on before the old engine crashed. So I just basically remembered all the code, like from how it works to how it operates. It was easy to implement in Scratch 3.0. Now, by the time we also hit, that was 2021 August, the engine Scratch 3.0 had started having issues such as slowdowns. It couldn't handle the vector graphics anymore. So this kind of actually online led me to a bit of depression, because I was like, is this the second time my game is gonna crash? I just have to throw it away. Just have to like start on something new. Then with time, I did a bit of my research on Google. Came across a new engine that was being worked on separate from the Scratch team, but had licenses. They got a license, I don't know what type, from the Scratch team. It was called TurboWarp. Similar software to Scratch 3.0, only better, faster, and had more functions and features. Yeah, when I got this engine, I knew everything was back on track. From that point on, I actually left Scratch 3.0. It had no use for me. I'm not saying it's actually a bad engine, it's actually a good engine. Yeah, the drag and drop visuals are easy to understand. But TurboWarp actually just surpassed it in so many ways. It had every feature necessary needed for a programmer or a game dev. So from that point, I started working with TurboWarp. It was actually a well implemented engine. Yeah, continued on. I did the extra characters who were missing from the Vecho Fights game. I even added an extra feature that was supposed to be in the game before it launched, which were fatal executions, bloody EX defeats. These are more like finishing moves, but I won't spoil much because you just have to see it when you actually see the full game, which will come out on 20th August 2022. So yeah, from that point, started working with TurboWarp. Yeah, implemented each and every character. The roster was finally full. All 12 characters were in and playable. And then, after that was all done, right now I'm just basically working on the story mode. Yeah, the story mode is kind of in a visual novel. With a bit of mostly visual novel. Players are interacting on screen. A few animations here and there, but they're not really that heavily detailed, but more like still images adjusting frame from frame with a bit of motion from the mouth movement, giving it life, making it seem like they're actually interacting. Yeah, also the story mode isn't really just a blunt classic story where you just play through, get to see your characters ending. There's a bit of a twist to it. As you play the story mode, you actually end up in matches which have conditions that you have to meet. These conditions will determine where the story goes, depending on the character you're using. If certain conditions are met, you're going to see certain scenarios play, and if conditions aren't met, another scenario will play out. And not only that, within the same story, there are some mini games. You might find some mini games such as what I made, rock, paper, scissors. One that just has you input 1 or 2 buttons before a timer runs out. Others, other type of mini games are also more like meter dominance, where you actually have to fulfill a meter else is into full before the CPU does. Yeah, all these mini games aren't just playable for the sake of, they actually affect how the narration of the story goes. Not only the narration of the story, even how the gameplay matches begin. So yeah, the game is mostly done and will be done soon. All that's left now is just the story mode. Should be done by May. I've already got like 6 stories into the game. And then we should be looking at a really good launch. Otherwise, my journey with Vecho Fights, it's been actually like, how can I say, a hell of a ride. It was actually fun, benefiting. I learned a lot about coding and game dev. Online, it is stressful work in the beginning, but once you get the hang of it, it actually starts off, like I say, it starts to pay off, the fruits of your labor. Put in time. I would actually program on a weekend from like 6 in the morning till like 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Yeah. Otherwise, I think I'll just conclude here on this video. I'll have another video maybe explain a bit about some of the characters and some of the features in the game. Yeah, if you actually like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and you can check out on my Patreon. It's actually called Vecho Fights Devlog. The link is in the description, the first link actually. You can check it out, support me there if you want to get more content like this. Yeah, and I'm out. See you later.